This is a spoiler warning. I suggest you leave if you don't want anything spoiled for you. Hey, it's Pharaoh, and I want to talk about the Promised Neverland controversy that's going on right now, especially with season 2 being out. And season 1 was freaking amazing. But my sister put me on to Promised Neverland about a year ago, probably, before season 2 was even out. And over winter break, I watched it, and I fucking loved it. That shit was great. So, season 2 was not too far behind. So when that came out, I watched up until like the third episode, and then waiting for the fourth episode to come out, I was like, nah, I need to go figure out and see what happens. So then I go to read the manga that weekend and body within like 2-3 days. And then when the next episode that I was supposed to watch comes out and I see what they did, they like completely ruined it.
Please, no! 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 No!
Because they find Norman and they find out all the other stuff that you find out way later on, and it just ruins the flow and the pacing. Like the pacing in season 2 is fucking atrocious, especially once they get to like episode 4 or 5. They completely throw the pacing off. It makes no sense, and they ruin all like the super hard hitting moments that you read in the manga. Like when they find Norman, when Norman finds them or whatever in the manga, that is completely different. Like it has so much weight to it because Norman pretends to be Will and Minerva in the manga, and he drip feeds them and tells them where to go and stuff like that. So they have hope that maybe James Ryer's still alive and stuff like that. But then when they go to Norman's base and he turns around, like that's so crazy because like they have a little foreshadowing in the beginning of the chapter where he's going to be introduced, where like you see a band of humans and stuff like that destroying mass production of arms. And then when that happens, you find out that it's actually Norman and he's actually older because time's passed. And like that moment is so impactful because then you also learn a lot of other stuff that's crucial to the story that in season 2 they just, yeah, let's just throw this right here even though it's not going to have that much impact. Like it doesn't have as much impact as it could. Like knowing that the demons, if they don't eat humans, like they just go into a primal state and that's how they become wild demons. But in the manga, they completely, like Norman tells them this, like demons are actually like, they were bacteria or whatever, and then they evolve super, super quick. So whatever they ate, that's what they helped evolve into. And that's when they started eating humans, they started becoming human-like. And when they didn't eat, they would devolve into a primal state. Like that's so important and so impactful to the story, and they just brush over it. Then another thing that they brush over is like the 7 walls. That's important because that's how the promise was created, through like the method of the 7 walls and the promise with like the higher deity of like the demon world and stuff like that. But running that back, they completely cut out the Goldie Pond arc, which is super crucial because characters like Yugo and Lucas are introduced. And there's so much character development in the Goldie Pond arc that happens between Emma, Ray, Yugo, Lucas, and then all the kids that they meet there. And then you also meet like high-ranking demons, and you get to see how they fight, because that's not something that you get to see often. And one of the most badass demons there, his name is Levis, and to take him down compared to all the other demons, they have to fight tooth and nail, and they just barely survive fighting him. And that grittiness and nuanceness where like you don't really know necessarily what's going to happen. Obviously like the series has to go on, but it's really fight tooth and nail, and that's really impactful to the story. Because then after that, when they leave Goldie Pond, they destroy it. They take all the kids from Goldie Pond back to the base, and all those kids have different talents and skills. Like the kids from Glory Bell are the ones that actually start making the masks and stuff for the kids to go into the demon villages and stuff like that, to go scavenge and find knowledge and stuff like that. But in the anime, they just completely make it like, yeah, you know, if you throw some clay together, you can get a really good mask and stuff like that. Like, I think having new characters that are actually serve a purpose and also have skills that the kids don't, especially because they had to interact with the demons all the time because they were in hunting grounds. So they constantly had to interact with them, that they knew and found out stuff like that. But for the kids in the anime, they didn't have to really interact. They didn't have to see the demons all the time with their masks and how they're created and blah, 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 how to hide and stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, we all just threw it together. And then also just the pacing, because in that time period, they just skipped the Goldie Pond arc in the anime. And when they meet up with Norman, that a whole year and some change has passed. But in the manga, a whole year and change has passed. But in between where they meet Norman in the manga, they do the Goldie Pond arc. But then after that, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that they have to go figure out, like the Seven Walls. They have to figure out how that works. And then there's a whole bunch of character development in there that's actually crucial because we get a greater understanding of the kids and the dynamic that they have with people like they just met, and it hardens it. Like it creates a genuine feeling of empathy and connection to the characters rather than how it is in the anime. Like everybody's just here, then there, then there, then there, then this, then that. It's so patchwork together. Another thing that they completely just changed outright is how Isabella's character functions in the anime. Like in the anime, literally, if you watch the end of season 1, she literally has sympathy for the kids and even says, I pray that they find the light to fight. And also, please be careful. But in season 2, they completely like wiped that away. Like she never said that and never cared for the kids. Because in the manga, she says all of that, but then moves forward with it. Because later on in the series, all of that love and stuff that she has plays into a factor way later on into the series where she's actually on their side, but she's working within as like a double agent. But here, I guess, I mean, they already fucked up the story, I'm not gonna lie. So I guess they could do something cool with Isabella, but I think destroying all of that foundation that she built up in the end of season 1 and then just completely basically implanting a new personality into her just destroys all that happened at the end of season 1. Season 1 was so good, and then as soon as season 2 came out, they just started flipping the script and it just changed a lot of stuff that was really great about the series. One last thing that they drastically changed in the anime, obviously because the characters that are involved in the manga just don't exist in this world, like Lucas and Yugo, is where the kids are at. Obviously they're in the bunker, but getting rid of the whole Goldie Pond arc destroys all of the building up to how they find out where the kids are at. In the anime, they just know somehow and instantly just, well, yeah, we're here to, kill you and take you back. But in the manga, what they find out in Goldie Pond help them realize that the Ratry family that obviously William Minerva or James Ratry is part of actually is against saving the kids, obviously, because they don't want to break the promise. So the Ratry clan sends goons out to go figure out exactly where the kids are at. They go talk to Phil, and then they also have a person go and just look for all these other spots where they think they might be at, and they're false bunkers. And then eventually they find the kids in this specific bunker because they have owl drones that are flying over where they might possibly think the bunker might be. And then in turn, that's where a whole little mini tiny arc happens with them having to escape the bunker. And that's all that pretty much happens in the anime thus far. So I don't want to touch on anything further out than that. So I would definitely recommend go reading the manga because it's definitely a good read. And it's far better than what you're getting in the anime when it comes to story, how it's told, the pacing, the characters, the content involved. So go read the manga, and then you could check back into the show to see how the anime is doing the story rather than how the manga did it. If you liked what I had to say, like, subscribe. I'll definitely be pushing out more videos. I'll catch you in the next video.